One thing that never fails to annoy me is the multitude of fantasy anime out there and only the barest surface level of their magic systems are explored. Most of the time, magic users cast fireball or lightning or wind magic without going into the details of how that would actually work. Usually it's just the caster has to imagine how to use the magic. Whenever I think of this kind of exploration, my mind usually goes to a very good scene from Bastard Instructor, where the protagonist explains how certain changes to a chant will change the effect of the spell cast. I simply love this kind of stuff. The wrong way to use healing magic takes this exploration and applies it very neatly to healing magic, as you might have guessed. In the show, healing magic is used to heal torn muscles, so the caster can keep running and running, becoming much stronger and faster. Plus, you can do something else with healing magic against enemies. Simply excellent. So the story begins with this high school president, the vice president, and a run-of-the-mill student ending up walking home together, whereupon the trio are teleported to a fantasy world as heroes to fight the future demon invasion. They test what magic they've gained, which becomes thunder, light, and of course, healing. Usato blurts this out in front of Rose, the MVP of the anime, who immediately grabs him and runs off, determined to train him in time for the demon invasion. This may seem like a simple plot, but the characterization is so earnest and so fun that it really works. By far the characters are what makes this show. Time and time again, Usato is shown to be a kind-hearted person, but also one who's resilient, very dogged, and often makes funny comebacks, which often backfires. Which brings me to Rose, who is without doubt the best character in the show. She does not take shit from anyone, will always take action into her own hands, and above all, she takes pride in watching her team grow, takes a little glee about punishing them for any remarks made, and in seeing the demons fail. But it also goes much further than this. Even from the very early moments, where she ruthlessly trains Usato to run till his muscles break, then heals him and makes him run some more, it's clear there's a lot more going under the surface than what appears. Early on, it's clear she's doing this to save lives, but shortly into it, it becomes apparent there's a dark history weighing on her, which we indeed see later. There's a single tiny moment I wish to highlight. Right before the scene where she explains to Usato he must prioritise those he heals, gives him the uniform and warns him of the dangers of war, there's a 4-second moment where she stands alone with the uniform. The sheer mountain of emotions and conflicts you can draw from this tiny scene is incredible. Without a doubt, these two make for a great hero-mentor duo. But what of the rest of the cast? The heroine, Inukumi, is always upbeat and cracking jokes. With every interaction, you really see her eagerness for this new world over her old one. More than her jovial attitude, however, she's incredibly supportive to those around her, making certain her friends are okay. Simply put, she's an absolute joy to be around. Meanwhile, the other hero, Kazuki, did come across as bland at first, but only because he was in the midst of some awesome characters. But as time goes on, you realise the pressure he's under, and you end up rooting for him too. Not to mention, he's got his own cute little romance with the shy princess. There's barely a handful of scenes with them, but they're both characterised well enough that you care for the two of them. Hell, even the side characters, such as the rescue team, the healer siblings, and the king himself, are all well done. The first adds a decent comedic element that plays a key role in the battle, as well as being kinda realistic. The second adds a bit more seriousness to the setting, while acting as a foil for Usato. The king, meanwhile, is only shown a few times, but he comes across as a wise, caring ruler, doing what he can to protect his kingdom. If I'm honest, I even like the bear and rabbit in this. Yeah, even though human voice animals in anime are an ever-growing pet peeve of mine, the bear cub added a bunch of jokes that brought out several good chuckles from me. Meanwhile, the rabbit only really appeared in one episode, but it added to Rose's characterization, as she used it to keep a watchful eye on Usato. I'd say the only weak characters in this are the demons, but more so because they're very simple instead of bad. From what we're shown, the redhead is purely driven by revenge against Rose, while this one I have quite a few reservations about. However, there really isn't much screen time for either of them, so there's tons of room to dig deeper if this gets another season. All in all, the cast of this show are very fun, entirely engaging, and come across as pretty realistic, even with all the incredible powers. It would honestly be difficult for anyone not to be drawn into their respective journeys in this new world. Speaking of, I want to highlight something about this fantasy world. Something very few other isekai have. A complete absence of guilds and goddamn dungeons! Hallelujah, we don't have another isekai protagonist forming a band to delve into caves to level up. Oh yeah, levels, they're also absent. The people here have to train to improve their magic. They don't just get handed levels after defeating monsters. From this, I can conclude the writers took a lot of care to think about their world and the role their characters play in it. It's understandable for the trio to be scared to fight the demons, yet the anime took care to establish good reasons why they each put their lives on the line to protect the kingdom. The way Rose uses healing magic is rare, but the anime took care to establish reasons why. The idea of the rescue team isn't just for the sake of the premise. It makes complete sense for this to be a practical thing in this world, and this is exactly what wins the battle. The war has been raging for a while, but there are established reasons why the humans don't kill the demon prisoners. In short, The Greatest Way to Use Healing Magic is a fantastic anime from last year that I'm certain you'll have a great time with.